What's up YouTube, it's Frayed Hero here. This is my 4th time recording this, hopefully it goes well. This is the Blue Wave deck profile. So starting Vanguard, we're using the Draco Kid because we like to draw cards, and we sometimes forget to activate its draw effect because we're forgetful. But yeah, it's pretty great. I like it better than the new starter because you restand so much with your rearguards, especially on your Anger Boil, that it's rarely needed to hit wave. Only against maybe certain control matchups might you want that skill so you don't have to commit as much to the board, but otherwise I do like the draws and plussing it can do. Moving on to triggers, very standard lineup. 4 heals, waiting for that blue wave heal. 4 blue wave crit, 4 supersonic sailor, and 4 Malikas to draw and give boosts if you need them. Grade 1s, 4 PGGs, I use them because I have them, and it's great to get the unflips. You rarely would need to PG your rear guard, and it is nice to not have to minus to countercharge, so that's why I like it. 4 stride fodders because you do not really want to pitch 2 cards to stride in most cases because it is usually important rear guards you need to go off, so I feel like it's more important to have consistent striding in this deck. And then 3 Stashias because she's like one of the best rear guards in Aquaforce. She enables better wave numbers, so you don't have to like waste attacks with Tidal Assault and stuff early on. And she can also, be cheesy with it behind the Vanguard, and you can like boost with it and stand it, and then it'll be a 12. Stuff like that. It's pretty nice. And then 3 Seagulls because he is great early game and mid to late game, because his early game you can use the +3, it's not GB restricted. Even mid to late game that can come in handy if you call it from hand to get nice numbers. Or his GB1 effect, if you don't forget to use it, it is a bounce back to your hand. So you do get an extra 5k shield, or you could reuse him the next turn if you don't guard with it. Grade 2s, 4 of the best grade 2 in the deck. Foibos, he's your restander, hits for 11k, only works on wave 3, but you can play around with that quite easily. 4 Tidal Assaults, these are your free version of your restands. They're not GB restricted, they don't cost counterblast, so he's really good. It's pretty staple in my opinion. And I'm running 2 of the new Blue Wave grade 2. He is nice. He has another Blue Wave name for your Soul Blast for the new Stride. He is also another Blue Wave grade 2 you can ride if you want to rush with Foibos. And if you go first, he can actually get his skill off. So as long as you damage the Blue Wave, you're good to go. And you can kind of rush or at least apply pressure in that situation. And is a decent card. I mean, you can just counterblast one to make him 11k if you want. That's always a thing. And then I'm running 1 High Tide. It's just there because there are times where that High Tide push can help, though he doesn't restand, so it doesn't help with your wave requirement, but you can hit that pretty easily, as I mentioned before. But he's also susceptible to cards like Header Around, Denial Griffin, and even in certain instances Bulwark, so you can't always get the most value out of him in control, so he's not as needed, and you could just slap in another of those grade 2s just for consistency's sake. But the High Tide has put in pressure when I need it sometimes. Other than that, it's up to you. Oh, forgot that Foibos. Grade 3 is very, very standard. 4 Anger Boils and 4 Tetra Drives. Anger Boil, of course, at 4 because you want him and he's not even searchable. Tetra Drive because it's a Blue Wave name. It's also limit break, so if you play against like 7Cs, grade 1 Rush, or if you play against anything that just doesn't like to ride, or if you went first and they just like aggroed you to 4 for some reason, then you always have a fallback option to go on. It's pretty decent. I like it better than the new card because the new card is just a little awkward with how it gives you a benefit on stride. And on top of that, I don't play Seabreeze, so this is your theoretical Seabreeze. You at least have plays thanks to it, and you aren't really GB restricted anyway, so that's always nice. G-Zone. We're running, of course, 4 Tetra Boil, the best stride in the deck. Usually what you're going into until you're out of them. And if you do happen to run out of them, you have other options. But more than likely you're going to be sitting on this guy because he's so free and pluses you, so that's always good. And comes with your on stride. One of the new Blue Wave grade 3 to fix your ride. If you aren't playing against like Limit Break and you ended up riding Tetra Drive and you feel like you can consistently stride from there, then you can just use this skill, usually as the first stride, to fix your ride, so you can be on Anger Boil if you didn't already, you know, giant to multiple grade 3s at that point. And it's just nice to try to dig for that correct grade 3 if you went on your first stride. If not, there's 4 Commander the Boss, which you more or less use on your first stride if you're on Anger Boil. Since it does enable GB2 if you can't stride next turn, you can still have plays. It also is just a solid card because you don't have to commit a whole lot and still get a fair amount of value out of it from his skill, as well as pressure. And it's just a really good card. I'm running one of the new the Boss because if they don't have the right cards in hand to block him, you can just play around that and like just chip away at their hand with your rearguard swings to force a no guard with your vanguard, or you know, force the no guards on the chip aways for them to try to block the vanguard with damage triggers and stuff. You know, like, just depends on the situation in the hand. Retiring the board is also a really cool thing you can do, since it is a form of board control, and if you're there playing like a rearguard heavy deck and you feel like you can't kill them, but if you cripple their field, you know, they'd be in a really bad spot, so there's always that. And then I'm personally running 2 Lambros. If you run out of Tetra Boils, or if you want to save the Tetra Boil, it's a really good pressure stride. If not, I would probably consider dropping them for maybe a Sea Breeze and like maybe another G Guardian, because G Guardians and Aqua Force are really weird. So rounding it off, we're running 1 of the Iceball Dragon PG or G Guard because he is the biggest shield value that they give, but he only works on wave 1 and 4 or higher. So as Aqua Force players know, wave 3 is the hardest thing to guard. This perfect guard or G Guard for the extra 500 shield if you can, or 5,000 shield if you can use it. It's also still in that awkward position where it's only wave 1 and 2, but it is a little more shield if you have to use it early on that wave 2 especially. And then 1 Dismal because it protects rearguards, your rearguard deck. It is very helpful. And then 1 Screw for the consistent extra shield value, though you do drop another card from your hand. I would consider a Gleam or just running more G-Guards in general because of the whole awkward strides that are G-Guards that don't really help you that much. I would probably say a Gleam would be one of the ones you'd throw in, maybe another Dismal depending on your meta, or another Screw for that matter, for more shield if you feel like you need it, because Blue Wave can get extra cards to their hand pretty easily, especially if you run the Blue Wave grade 1 if you decide to, because he can get you back your grade 3s and you can just drop it off for Screw, so that's always another option. But that's how I have the deck right now. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time.